Hello YouTube and welcome back to another quick Gridmaster guide. This one's going to be on the Colosseum task where you need to kill Sol Heredit. And the reward for this is the Specialist Relic, which basically makes it so that every special attack you use is only going to cost 20% spec and have 100% increased accuracy. So this one's definitely worth getting. Similar to the previous video, like with the 4 awakened bosses, I'm going to recommend that you have done the Yama task for Last Stand. Last Stand is really broken, especially for all of the wave-related tasks. Colosseum, Inferno, Doom of Mokeotl, Delves, because you can kind of wait as long as you want between waves and just proc Last Stand on every single wave if you really need it, including on Sol. So if like out of this entire board, I would say that the Yama Last Stand relic is pretty much mandatory. I would definitely also strongly recommend this entire column that gets you the Sunlit Bracers, which doubles the healing of the Corrupted Shark, of Saradomin Brews, and Karambwans. So when needed, you can kind of just stand there and tank by spam clicking Shark Brew Karambwan, Shark Brew Karambwan. It'll heal you like 100 health or something ridiculous. So definitely worth getting that row as well. You definitely want to have all 6 Combat Masters as well as a T-Bow. So if you haven't done your Tombs of a Masket, go in there and get your T-Bow. Definitely the best out of all 3 mega rares with the 100% accuracy. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the Colosseum. Now I'll kind of be approaching this guide from the lens of Gridmaster, not really from the lens of the main game. I'm kind of not ruling out cheesy stuff that you can do to make the Colosseum easier. So quickly talk about invocations. Blasphemy is a very good invocation to take here. It's just going to make you take prayer, drain your prayer according to how much damage you take. Not really going to affect how you play the waves out. Just got to keep an eye on your prayer. Make sure you keep spamming your super restore if you take damage. So Blasphemy is a really good one to take early. Now for the first wave, there's just a major, the Serpent Shaman. And then every wave there will be this band of Fremenniks, an archer, a ranger, a major, and a melee. In general, you want to just camp, pray mage the entire Colosseum, and kill the berserker as soon as you can, as well as the archer. The mages in Colosseum have the highest max hit out of all the mobs, so that's why I say that you should pray mage. So here you can just see me focus the warband down, get rid of all the sources of ranged and melee damage, so that I'm only facing the majors at the end. So in the bottom left corner here, I have a little panel that shows like what's coming on this wave and what's coming on the next wave. That's just the Colosseum plugin. You can find it on the plugin hub. So for the next wave, I'm going to take probably Solar Flare. It's just a little orb that orbits around the pillar. And if it hits you, you'll take some damage. And at higher ranks of this invocation, it'll deactivate your prayers. But overall, it's a pretty harmless invocation compared to all the others. So I strongly recommend that one, as well as Blasphemy. So same strategy here, just kill the Berserker. Kill the Archer, so that I'm only taking magic damage. Now there's 2 Rangers on me, so I could be taking some high damage here. So just spam your food as needed. And again, you never have to be afraid of dying on any of these waves, because you always can rely on your last stand. Now wave 4 is going to introduce a Manticore, or the Lion enemy. Again, take Solar Flare, pretty good invocation. I'll take a moment to explain what the Lion does, although you don't need to worry too much about it because of Last Stand. You can always just cheese it using Last Stand if you need to. So the way the Manticore works is he's going to line up 3 players, and he's going to fire them off from top to bottom. So he's going to fire Mage, range, melee. Um, and when you make yourself visible to him, he's quickly going to fire off that mage, followed by the range and the melee one tick apart. So, what you want to do is you want to walk out, praying mage, and then as soon as you see him fire the mage, a spell, you swap to range, and then a tick later you swap to melee. So let's go ahead and see that play out. So I'll just play that one. Well, let's see me finish this kill, and then let's go back and watch it one more time. A little bit further. So he's already lined up his prayers. That takes a few ticks for him to do. And then once you walk out, it'll take about a tick for him to start his cycle. Just make sure, in this case, you swap the prayer as soon as he launches it. So as soon as he launches the range prayer, you switch to range. As soon as he launches the range prayer, you swap to melee. So Relentless is a pretty good one to take. It's going to reduce your defense by a little bit and cause you to take a tiny bit more damage. But overall, it's a pretty harmless invocation. Since we have the 40 plus healing from the shark on top of Bruise and Karam once. So once you start getting into the later waves, it can be useful to immediately run to this tile right here. And this is going to cause, most of the time, the monsters that spawn in the back of the room to stack onto the east side of the pillar, keeping you safe from whatever is behind it. And then you only have to kill the enemies that are directly attacking you to the north. So as you can see here, there's 2 mobs trapped behind that pillar that can't attack me. Now if you have a twisted bow, it's just enough to reach the shaman without being hit by the manticore or the colossus. Okay, and it looks like I didn't kill this wave fast enough. So as you can see, under wave 5, this is the case for every wave actually. There's 2 mobs that are in a different color. The one times mage, one times melee. So the melee is the jaguar warrior, the mage is the serpent shaman. If you don't kill the wave fast enough, they're going to spawn from this. They're always going to spawn from that southern gate. And if you're standing on this yellow tile that I'm standing on right now, you're pretty much going to be safe spotted from anything that comes out of that gate. So it does matter to an extent that you DPS the monsters somewhat quickly so that you don't get overwhelmed. So don't just sit around forever like not hitting anything. So that you don't get hit by a million monsters at once. But ultimately, even then you can still just cheese it with Last Stand. The only mistake that you can really make is you don't attack anything, you proc Last Stand, you like run around trying to heal while you've already procced Last Stand. Don't do that. Just always be hitting stuff. See, I just take a ton of damage from this Manticore, but it doesn't even matter, I just keep hitting. I could have got comboed out, but it doesn't really matter. The important thing is I just keep hitting them. And if it's only the javelin guys hitting you, then it's fine to swap to range, but afterwards just swap back to mage. And then I'm 1v1ing the jaguar warrior, so I swap to melee. But in general, if there's multiple stuff on you, you should be praying mage, because the mages have the highest max hit. Oh, and one little tip that's nice is you should always run to this tile that I'm standing on exactly. You don't have to get there before you get stunned. Like for the start of the next wave, you can run there after you pick your invocation before the monsters spawn. What this does is it causes the monsters to try and spawn mostly in the east, and they won't spawn right next to you, like in this western part of the arena. So I have a pastebin in the description, and that'll have these exact tiles. Um, but this tile is just important to stand on before the monsters spawn so that you can maximize how many that you trap behind the pillars. Blasphemy is a really good invocation, so always take it. Totemic is pretty bad because it heals them, and Doom is pretty bad because basically it makes it to where if you take 15 hits of any kind, then you get insta-killed. And that's really bad when you're trying to cheese stuff by healing through all the damage and with Last Stand. So never take Doom, I would say. Unless you know what you're doing. Here I pray correctly against the Manticore, but it's pretty unnecessary. I'm just trying to save time. It is nice to try and do it somewhat correctly because you save a little bit of time compared to if you were just proccing Last Stand every wave and having to wait 3 minutes between waves. But just keep in mind it's totally not necessary to actually complete the content and get the reward. So here, Dynamic Duo is pretty good because the Shockwave Colossi, that's the major, and we're always praying mage anyway, so it doesn't matter if they spawn more majors. So it's a pretty good invocation to take. Quartet is okay too. It spawns an extra little Freminate guy every wave. So again, I'm still just focusing down the warband at the beginning of the wave, using the pillar to stack monsters behind it. Now I've just got a major and a manticore on me. I kind of misclicked here, took a bunch of damage. Doesn't really matter, even if I had died. The number one rule here is just keep hitting stuff. The only time you can lose is if you proc Last Stand and you come out of it and you haven't killed everything. Or you're not at least safe from the stuff that was attacking you. And you don't really need to find the solutions or the solves, as they say, to these like triple stacks or whatever. You can just kind of walk out, do hit and runs, or just use Last Stand. However you want to do it. I always just choose to camp Prey Mage because the Major does the most damage, even though there's two Rangers. You could argue I should pray range and kill the Major, but again, there's so much room for error. I'm just walking out tanking so many hits, and I still haven't even procced Last Stand a single time. So just to show you how forgiving it all is. And just notice again I walked to that tile in between waves. It's the optimal tile for spawning monsters behind pillars. Now for this one, re-entry is not a bad invocation. It's going to make it so that the ranger dudes who they like throw an arrow at your location every 5 attacks. Now whenever they do that, they're also going to spawn a puddle at that same location. So just make sure that when they do that animation every 5 attacks, you can try moving out of the way to avoid taking that damage. You can choose to pray correctly against the manticores if you want, if you don't want to wait 3 minutes between waves. Or you can just tank them and kill them. Relentless is fun. I would not upgrade re-entry because it's gonna cause the puddle that I just talked about to become like a 3x3 puddle. So you definitely don't want that much space being denied. We are using the pillars quite a lot, so we don't want the space behind them to be taken away from us. Not even swapping prayers for this Manticore. Just have so much healing that it doesn't really matter. Now I'm just gonna pretty much camp range pray. Notice there the orb actually turned off my prayer because I stood in its way. And there's the puddle that the ranger dudes throw every 5 attacks. Prayer deactivated again by the orb. It's a little bit annoying, but as you can see, it's not really dangerous. Okay. One more wave, and then we'll have Sol. One thing I do try and do on these later waves is try and make it so that at least one Manticore is trapped behind a pillar. Because the Manticores are the ones doing the most damage to me, I would say. So if you can trap one behind a pillar and only take one Manticore at a time, then that buys you a little bit of time. You have to remember there's no time pressure here. You can wait as long as you want, as long as you want, as long as it takes you to kill stuff. So here I'm using this pillar to trap like 4 of the mobs pretty easily. Just kill that Manticore so I don't have to tank it anymore. And there's very little damage coming out after that. I'm kind of trolling here, but there's not much they can do to me when they're all trapped. You can always just walk behind the pillar at any time to recover your health. It really is kind of amazing how many monsters get trapped behind it. I'm just gonna skip this. It's a little embarrassing. Okay, so last wave is just Sol. So I have a little technique that works to delay proccing last stand for as long as you can. What you do is you stand at the rightmost tile next to Sol, and whenever you see him queue up an attack, you walk in an L shape backwards. And that's going to dodge 3 out of 4 attacks he can do. So about 75% of his attacks you're going to dodge. If you execute it correctly, which I don't even do that correctly the entire way here. But see, I'm walking to this right corner, and I'm preparing to click on the L, like in an L shape to the back. And that's going to dodge like 3 out of 4 of the attacks that he can do. So it's just going to help me delay proccing last stand. It's important to walk back to that tile that you just came from, so that you don't run out of room behind you. If you forget to do that, then you can also just stand on that tile that you moved to and plant there, and keep moving in that L shape. Just keep in mind that you will have to rotate to another side of Sol as he backs you into the wall. So I move in that L shape, waiting for an attack. Keep moving in L shapes as the beams come out. Now that one I just tank because I need to rotate. Those line thingies that go across the room, they do about 70 damage. So that's, I would say, the one attack that you don't want to get hit by. If you do get hit by anything, to the point that you do proc last stand, just hit him. Just stand there and hit him. Don't dodge anything. Just maximize your damage to him. And you're probably going to kill him. I just keep walking in L shapes. Whenever I see him attack, I kind of mess it up there. I didn't walk in an L. Now here, I'm always making sure to position myself at that far right corner of Sol's hitbox. Pretty important for the L technique to work. Walking in the L again, I dodged that attack, and I didn't even proc last stand. So, just to show you how doable the Colosseum is. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So, even if you're not able to execute that, like the L step perfectly, it shouldn't really be that big of a deal. You can honestly just sit there and tank most of his attacks. I think I got hit by a lot of attacks there anyway, and somehow still managed to survive to the end. So, if this video was helpful, just let me know. And if you want to see any of the other harder tasks in Gridmaster, let me know down in the comments what you want to see, whether it's like TOB or Cox or um, Inferno. If any of that would be helpful to you guys, just let me know and I can put another video out. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and comment. Bye-bye.